Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And today we're going to continue talking about Norway, especially the town of Tromsø, which is, of course, in northern Norway. And people go there mainly to check out the northern lights. Okay, although Tromsø is not a small place. I think there's about 40,000 people that live there. So they're obviously going to have some cultural facilities there, restaurants, museums, or whatever to check out. But again, mainly people go there to see the northern lights.
They do, but we're going to talk about things beyond the northern lights that you can do and see while you're there. One specific thing is a very popular, I think, health trend right now, and that's to do a sauna and then immediately jump into cold water, which is supposed to wake up your body, helps you live longer. Because you're putting stress on your body, which actually is good for it sometimes. So we're going to talk about that and how they do it. We're also going to talk about the adorable Norwegian Huskies, the species of dog that actually pulls sleds across the snow. We're going to talk about that. And also some of the Aboriginal people, the Sami, we're going to talk about them as well. But in order to learn more, you're going to have to stay tuned. We're going to listen to the article read out loud, and then we'll be right back.
While Tromsø is famous for the aurora, there's much more to explore. One particularly special experience is the Scandinavian sauna tradition. Many of Tromsø's saunas float in its chilly fjords, offering you the chance to relax while being surrounded by magnificent winter landscapes. The practice of alternating between hot and cold therapies is an essential part of Scandinavian wellness. After heating up in a sauna, some brave souls take the plunge into the icy waters of the fjord, a refreshing and unforgettable experience. Another must-do activity in Tromsø is dog sledding. Norwegian Huskies, with their thick fur and tireless nature, are bred to pull sleds laden with goods and people. These furry athletes love to run, and their enthusiasm is contagious. Meet your team of Huskies, learn their different personalities, and glide across the snowy wilderness, experiencing the Arctic like never before. For a cultural exploration, visit a reindeer farm and learn about the Sami people, the indigenous inhabitants of the Arctic. The Sami have a deep connection to nature and their reindeer. At their farms, you can feed the reindeer, take a reindeer sled ride, and enjoy a traditional meal around a cozy campfire. Your guide will share fascinating insights into Sami history, folklore, and reindeer herding techniques. Why settle for just chasing the lights with herds of travelers when you can embark on a more diverse Arctic adventure? Whether you're relaxing in a floating sauna, sledding through snowy forests, or marveling at the dancing aurora, Tromsø promises memories that will last a lifetime. Pack your warmest clothes and get ready for an unforgettable trip to the top of the world. Okay, it's time for us to discuss the contents of our lesson for today. We're talking about the highlights and the highlights of Tromsø. Of course, we mentioned the Northern Lights in our last program, the Aurora Borealis, but we're not going to focus on them so much today. We're going to talk about other things to check out in Tromsø, especially the saunas there. So let's find out what that is all about. While Tromsø is famous for the aurora, there's much more to explore. Okay, so there are other things to check out there in addition to the Northern Lights, and one particularly special experience is the Scandinavian sauna tradition. Now, a sauna is like a hot room that you sit inside and it opens your pores on your skin. It's supposed to be really good for you. It's not like bathing in a hot pool. I think that's called something else. But a sauna is, again, the hot room, okay? And I don't think you're supposed to sit in there for very long, maybe 10 minutes tops or so. And so this is the tradition in Scandinavia. The countries of Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Denmark, and Iceland, I believe, are referred to as Scandinavian countries. So this is the tradition that you will find in all of those countries.
There are two kinds of saunas that I know about, the hot dry sauna and the steam wet sauna.
All right, the steam room.
Right. So you can pick one of those two. I prefer the steam sauna. The one that's just dry and hot is really tough. But I grew up in the desert, so it kind of feels like that to me. If you go out in the middle of the day in the summer in Arizona, it's kind of like a dry sauna. It's so freaking hot. Anyway, this is a Scandinavian tradition, as we learn. They learned about this a long time ago, but now the rest of the world's catching on. It's very trendy right now to do these saunas and then the quick jump into a very cold pool of water. We're going to talk about how they do it naturally in nature over there. Many of Tromsø's saunas float in its chilly fjords. What's a fjord, Tom?
Oh, that's kind of hard to explain, but basically it's a body of water that's coming in from the ocean into a narrow mountain valley, okay? So you're going to have high cliffs on all sides of this fjord. It's kind of long and narrow. It's like a bay, maybe like a sort of harbor or something like that. But again, the mountains are really high on all sides of this body of water. So it's going to be quite scenic. And yes, indeed, the saunas will float inside those chilly fjords. It's cold there, but my goodness, you're going to be in a sauna with really great views. This will make life all the worth living.
Yeah, you can relax while you're being surrounded by magnificent winter landscapes. It sounds so wonderful. So there's a practice of alternating between hot and cold therapies. This is what we've been referring to. And it's considered to be an essential part of Scandinavian wellness. And they actually are more healthy and long-living than a lot of other countries. So it must do something. It must work. I remember when my parents went to this area of the world and they came home and my mom and dad both said, wow, the people over in Scandinavia are good looking. They're tall, they're beautiful, they look very healthy, they're fit. So maybe part of it is this hot and cold therapy that they practice. Alternate is one of our vocabulary words, and it simply means to take turns, okay? So in turn, you're doing some action in turn. Or maybe you're talking about work. Maybe you work late. You alternate your work schedule with another worker or a colleague, and you work night shift one week, and then you switch back, and you're working the morning shift while your colleague is working night shift. That would be an alternating work system or work schedule.
Right, like the government here in Taiwan sometimes alternates between the blues and the greens. They kind of go back and forth.
Yeah.
Just like in the U.S., it's red sometimes and blue at other times. But here we're alternating between hot and cold therapies. Therapy, of course, is some kind of medical treatment. In this particular case, it's just some kind of treatment for your body to expose your body to hot and cold temperatures. It's supposed to be good for your body. I've done that here in Taiwan. There's a spa resort up by Jinshan on the north coast that has like a sauna. You can get really hot or soak in the hot pools, and then you can go into this really cold thing full of water. So that is possible here in Taiwan as well. You don't have to go all the way to Norway, but still, this floating sauna amongst all those chilly fjords has got to be really something special.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous. If you look it up online, it's beautiful. So after heating up in a sauna, some brave souls take the plunge into the icy waters of the fjord. It must be freezing cold water because the fjord is built on a glacier. So it's really cold water. And this gives you this refreshing and unforgettable experience. We use this word plunge to talk about going from a very high level to a very low level quickly. And we'll use it sometimes to talk about the economy. For example, the stock market could have a really bad day and go from a high of a certain point and plunge going very, very low and losing a lot of money very quickly. So plunge. Or maybe you're going swimming and you're going to dive from a cliff. You're going to plunge from that cliff into the water below. Plunge is often used just to talk about, it could also be a really sad experience where a plane plunges into the ground or plunges into the sea, where we lose a lot of people who are on board that plane. It crashes.
Right, plunge sounds like the word that happens when the thing hits the water. Plunge. And so to me, it refers mostly to jumping into water, but as you said, it could apply into different situations like the stock market crash or a crash of a plane onto the ground. But here you're going to plunge into the cold, icy waters of the fjord. So you get really hot in the floating sauna and you decide, okay, I'm going to take a dip in this water here. So you take a plunge into the water and you feel the extremes in temperature. It's a refreshing and unforgettable experience. If something's refreshing, well, it feels like it's new, okay? And of course, that refers to an experience or maybe food. You can have a refreshing meal, for example. It's something you really haven't had before, and it makes you really excited because it's the first time you've had it. So yes, indeed, it's refreshing. It's really exciting, and therefore, it's something that you'll probably want to do again and again while you're there.
Now, here's another must-do activity in Tromsø, and it's dog sledding, which sounds so fun, I must say. But you'd have to bundle up because you're moving at very fast speeds outside in the snow, and you're in an open sled or an open sleigh. We often talk about Santa Claus with his reindeers and the sleigh. Kind of looks like a sleigh. It's called a sled in this particular circumstance here. So must do, something you don't want to miss. And it's the dog sledding. So we've got Norwegian Huskies. Huskies is a type of breed of dog, and they're bred to have very thick fur that keeps them warm, of course. And they're also tireless, meaning they don't get tired very easily. They can go for many hours as they pull that sled together. They're usually a group of dogs working together to pull the sled.
Exactly. I think there's a famous race in Alaska, which is over many hundred miles there. But of course, if you're in Norway, you can check this out. You can check out the Norwegian Huskies. They've got that thick fur, and they just are really hearty animals. They pull those sleds, which are laden or loaded with goods and people. So they've got products that they're delivering to different parts of Norway there. And, of course, people are on those sleds as well. I don't think they're just for tourists, okay? They probably have some practical applications there because maybe they don't have roads to every little farm.
So there aren't delivery trucks sometimes? It's a delivery sled?
I'm imagining that, but you'd have to go there and find out if that's the case yourself. Okay, we're at the midway point in our explanation for today. Let's take a break now and listen to our Chinese teacher.
Hello everyone, 我是派老师。今天讲解的是3月26号 Unit 14。Tromsø's Highlights and Highlights。 好，这个单元介绍的是挪威的特罗姆瑟这座城市。今天的内容是第2天的课文内容。那第1天里面介绍的是这座城市的必备行程。建议读者要选择晴朗的时间，晴朗的那一天呢，去欣赏极光。在这座城市里呢，可能做的可不是只有欣赏极光哦。那第2天的课文内容就告诉我们，其实到当地观光的话，还可以搭乘哈士奇所拉的雪橇，在冰天雪地里面遨游，也可以深入了解北极原住民萨米人和大自然还有驯鹿之间的连结。我们一起来看学习重点吧。那请同学看到第1段，到了挪威这个地方，这座城市呢，应该要去体验一下他们的 sauna。 为什么？因为有所谓的 Scandinavian sauna tradition。 好，那到底这一项传统有什么特别？请看到第3个句子 Many of Tromsø's saunas。 那这一些桑拿房呢，很多是漂浮在 float in its chilly fjords。 好，那什么是 fjords 呢？就是峡湾。那这么做的话，你就可以一边泡在这个桑拿房里面呢，同时又有机会看到周边非常壮丽的景致。好，请看到第4个句子。那第4个句子等于是在解释这种桑拿 sauna 到底是怎么做的。 Alternating between hot and cold therapies 等于是冷热交替啊。好，再来，请同学呢看到第5个句子。好，那怎么个冷热交替法？有些人在桑拿房里面那特别是烤箱当中真的热热的，之后呢就会跳到这个峡湾的冰冷的水里面 take the plunge into the icy waters of the fjord. 那这里讲的就是 icy waters， 就是冰冷的。好，那第二段呢，告诉我们在这座城市还可以做一个活动，就是 dog sledding。那狗狗会拉雪橇，什么狗呢？不是一般的狗，是哈士奇。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. We're talking about some of the other must-do activities in Tromsø, besides seeing the Northern Lights, of course. The first one we talked about is in the first paragraph, and that's that hot and cold therapy that people are participating in these days. It's quite popular. You get into the sauna first, whether it's a dry sauna or a wet sauna. And then if you're in Tromsø, you might have the sauna floating on top of the fjord. You'll have to look that up to see what it looks like. It's really cool. And then you would get out of that sauna and immediately just jump into the fjord's water, which would cool you down. It's very, very cold water. But this is supposed to help wake up your body. It stresses it, but the stress is actually very healthy for your body. And they've been going through this practice of alternating between hot and cold therapies for many, many years in the Scandinavian region. And I think it's led to better health outcomes for the people in this area of the world. So I think it's something that I'd like to try. As Tom was mentioning, is it Jinshan?
Yes, Jinshan.
You were talking about this area having a similar facility. Of course, you're not, floating on a fjord, but still you could go up there and see if it helps your health if you participate in this type of therapy.
I'm sure the spa resorts in other parts of Taiwan would offer this as well, probably in Jiaoxi or wherever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the idea, to go from hot to cold as something that's very therapeutic for your body. And also, if you're in Tromsø, you could enjoy dog sledding. They've got Norwegian Huskies there. They've got that thick fur. They can pull sleds with goods and people on them. And these furry athletes love to run, and their enthusiasm is contagious. Okay, so these dogs just love to run. Don't worry, you're not overworking them. They love to pull the sleds. They love the activity. They love to have something to do. And they have a lot of enthusiasm. If you have enthusiasm, you're very excited about what you're doing. You're very eager, and you're very interested in something. You might have enthusiasm for like a sport, for example. I'm very enthusiastic about basketball. I go to the games. I play as much as I can. And of course, if you're like that, we could say you are enthusiastic. That's the adjective, and the noun here is enthusiasm. And yes, indeed, the dogs have that enthusiasm or excitement about what they're doing, and it is contagious.
Another word we use that is part of that form, enthusiasm, is the word we use to describe people who are enthusiastic about something, and the noun is he or she is an enthusiast or a fan. You can use fan there too. Enthusiast just means a fan of something. So you get very excited. You get, pumped up to do an activity, or maybe you have a fun hobby you love. I was talking to someone last night who just loves music, and she loves to sing. That's not what she does for her job, but any opportunity she gets to sing, right there, she wants to volunteer for everything. So that would be an enthusiast, a music enthusiast. If something's contagious, it just spreads from one person to another, or here, from one dog to another. When they get in these groups and they're pulling sleds, they're all so happy and excited and enthusiastic, and they can go for hours. They're very, very hardy dogs. They have a really good system. Their bodies are really strong and healthy, and they can go for hours and hours. They love it. And the weight that they pull is shared between dogs. Now, sometimes you'll see a dog sled there that just has one husky pulling it, but it depends on how many huskies are pulling together as to how much they can load onto the dog sled.
And of course, these are dogs, and dogs have different personalities. So yes, you can meet your team of huskies, learn their personalities, and glide across the snowy wilderness, experiencing the Arctic like never before. So if you glide, that means you move smoothly and swiftly over a surface. Okay, you can glide across the water, for example, but here we're gliding across the snow. You could glide across the ice, too, if you're ice skating or something like that. But in this particular case, you're on a sled, so you're gliding across the snow, and you're in that wilderness. And yes, you're having a really great Arctic experience.
Sounds so fun, actually. So for a cultural exploration, visit a reindeer farm and learn about the Sami people. They are the indigenous inhabitants of the Arctic. So this is the Aboriginal group I mentioned, I think, at the end of day 1. So if you're going to go exploring, that means you're going to go on an exploration, which is the noun form of the verb to explore. You're checking out places that you've never seen before, or maybe no one else has been there before either. We're getting to the point in our world, though, that most places have been explored already. We're not the first people who've ever been there. But if you're exploring, you're checking out a place that's unknown to you. You're investigating it. You are examining it. Here, you're going to go for a cultural exploration. So you're checking out people's culture. And this is a culture that we're usually not familiar with, the Sami people. You can visit a reindeer farm. Most people only think of reindeers when they think about Santa Claus and his reindeer that are pulling his sleigh for Christmas. But there really are reindeer, and they're really cute animals, but they need to live in a cold, cold climate.
Right, and of course, I guess these farms are run by the Sami people. You can learn about them. Again, they're indigenous to the area, just like the Amis and the Atayal are indigenous to Taiwan. An inhabitant is just somebody who lives in a specific place. And the Sami have a deep connection to nature and their reindeer. So we always seem to think that, or this always seems to be the case with indigenous people. They're connected to the land, so they have a deep connection to nature. They really understand how things work in nature, while the rest of us are totally blind to it. We live in cities and we learn mathematics and stuff like that. These people are connected to the natural world, and they know all about their reindeer. And at their farms, you can feed the reindeer, take a reindeer sled ride, and enjoy a traditional meal around a cozy campfire, all for a price, I imagine. So it's a traditional meal that will be eating food that the Sami usually eat. And yes, it's a cozy campfire. I remember those days in the winter when you have a campfire in the middle of the winter. You're sitting in front of this nice warm fire when it's cold all around you. It's a great feeling. I'm sure you can have that feeling here in Taiwan when you're in the cold mountains and you have a campfire. It can be a really great experience.
Sounds so nice. So your guide will share fascinating insights into Sami history, their folklore. Folklore would include traditional customs, their stories, their music, their art. All of this is part of folklore. And you could also learn about reindeer herding techniques. To herd animals means you make them move along together in a group. Usually want to take them from one area of the land to another. We heard a lot of things like sheepdogs. They are actually bred to herd cattle into different pastures. If you're raising cattle, which is raising cattle for meat, that's what we raise cattle for. So yeah, you could learn a lot about the Sami. I'm sure they have things to share that we've never heard before. Their own techniques would be very special to the area where they live.
Yeah, it reminds me, I think I heard a story one time. I'm not sure if it's the Sami, but evidently there's a legend or a story that says that the northern lights are the result of an Arctic fox hitting its tail on the snow, and the snow goes up into the air and becomes the northern lights. That's kind of a fun little story. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but in any case, you can check out their folklore, and you can learn all about reindeer herding. So why settle for just chasing the lights with herds of travelers when you can embark on a more diverse Arctic adventure? Yes, indeed, people are going there primarily to see the northern lights, but of course there are other things to do in this place. Yeah, we've got herds of travelers nowadays. Everybody wants to travel. That's what they want to do in life. So everywhere you go, Paris, Rome, Tokyo, there are going to be hordes or herds of travelers. but this can give you a more diverse Arctic adventure. If something's diverse, it offers all sorts of different aspects, a variety of things. You could talk about a diverse population, like in New York City, for example. They've got all sorts of different people living there. It's very diverse there. But this is a diverse Arctic adventure. Yes, you can see the lights. You can play with dogs. You can take a sauna bath. You can do all sorts of stuff. Eat the food there, meet the people, chat. It's going to be a great time.
Yeah, I like that first question there. To settle for something just means, you take what's given to you, but even though you want a little more or you would like to do something that's a little more exciting, you just go, this is good enough. If you settle, you're saying this is good enough, but it's not really what you want with all your heart, right? You want more. So here it's kind of funny. I think I would be okay with settling for seeing the Northern Lights, but you don't have to. There's more that you can do in Tromsø. So we're talking about in going to this area, you can actually experience more of an adventure than just seeing the Northern Lights. So whether you're relaxing in that floating sauna, sledding through snowy forests, or marveling at the dancing aurora, Tromsø promises memories that will last a lifetime. This would be kind of an expensive trip, I must confess. It's not a cheap vacation to take, but it will give you memories that will stay with you forever.
Right. This is a common way we conclude articles, whether it's this or that. You can still enjoy a particular place, and Tromsø will promise memories that you'll always remember. Pack your warmest clothes. You can't go there with shorts and a t-shirt.
No.
You got to have some warm clothing there. And get ready for an unforgettable trip to the top of the world.
Woohoo!
So we certainly hope you have a great time there. And remember, you heard about it from us first. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation. Here comes our Chinese teacher.
好，我们回来继续看第二段这个狗狗拉雪橇的这个活动 dog sledding。那是谁来拖呢？我们看到第三个句子 These furry athletes。请问同学 furry athletes 所指的是谁呀？那当然呢，指的就是我们前面的哈士奇这些毛茸茸的运动员。他们 love to run， 他们很喜欢奔跑，而且呢，对他们所做的事是充满热情。Their enthusiasm is contagious， 而且不是只是他们感受到热情，周围的人呢也可以感受到热情。为什么？因为这是有感染力的 ，it's contagious。再来，请同学看到第三段。第三段呢，介绍到了北极圈里面的原住民萨米人。The Sami have a deep connection to nature and their reindeer。好，跟大自然，这些原住民跟大自然还有驯鹿有很深的连结。好，那到了这些原住民他们的农场的时候，你就可以喂驯鹿了。那此外，我们看一下第四个句子。如果你是参加导览团的话 Your guide will share fascinating insights into Sami history。 那这个导游呢，也会告诉你一些关于萨米人的故事。Fascinating insights into， 那当然我们就知道这些导游告诉我们的是深入的关于萨米人的文化，不是只是随口说说的而已。再来我们看第四段，请同学看第一个句子。Why settle for just chasing the lights with herds of travelers when you can embark on a more diverse Arctic adventure？ 好，所以很多人呢，其实要去欣赏极光的时候，参加的呢是旅行团，那就会有一大群人，所以我们才会说 herds of travelers。 好，那他们呢是 chasing the lights， 追着极光跑。好，读者如果想要看极光，根据作者的建议，不要参加这种大型的旅行团。为什么？他会觉得这是 settle for it， 这等于算是屈就了，勉勉强强的接受了某个你不是最爱的东西。那比较好的是什么呢？ You can embark on， 好 embark on 就是踏上什么旅程， embark on an adventure。 好，这 adventure 就是冒险嘛。那前面所描述的这些行程是不是比较有趣啊？所以这就是作者建议我们的。那我们呢，可以到这里去做哈士奇所拉的雪橇，同时呢， 也参加这些比较深度认识北极原住民文化的导览团。好，以上呢就是我们针对这篇文章第2天课程内容所做的中文讲解。I'll see you next time. Bye bye.
That's it, guys. We hope you enjoyed our travel unit to Tromsø in Norway. And we hope you also get a chance to go if that's on your bucket list. The things you want to do before you leave this earth.
Before you kick the bucket.
Thanks for joining us. If you have some time, check out our YouTube and Facebook page and learn a little bit more. And good luck studying English. For English Digest, I'm Stephanie.
I'm Tom. Goodbye.
Bye.